Live to survive. People from the Donetsk region are evacuated right under the shelling of the Russian army. Mandatory evacuation continues in the region.
Take people out, everyone who leaves.
All those who remained on the territory of the Donetsk region, this is about 350,000 people, must leave the region before the cold sets in. The regional military administration is sure.
3/4 of the population have actually been evacuated from Donbass. The categories of people who stayed are the least inclined to evacuate. They least of all wanted to leave their homes, but the evacuation continues. Paulo Kyrylenko, head of the Donetsk Regional Military Administration, on the air of the national telethon.
Ukrainians are also leaving from the other regions in order not to get wounded and die from shelling. Residents of the Kharkiv, Mykolaiv and Zaporizhia regions leave their cities and villages. Those who cannot evacuate themselves are assisted by volunteers and local authorities.
Every time I visit dangerous territories, I communicate with elderly people who do not want to leave their homes. I try to persuade everyone to take this step for their safety. Those who fortunately have already arrived in Zaporizhia today have severe health defects. One woman is blind, the other is inactive. They did not have the opportunity and strength to even hide from shelling in time. Zlata Nekrasova, deputy head of the Zaporizhia Regional Military Administration, on the website of the administration.
Each internally displaced person receives monthly payments from Ukrainian authorities, financial support from international organizations, humanitarian aid and assistance in finding housing. Those who sheltered the evacuees can also count on compensation.
From October 1st, homeowners who accommodated internally displaced persons will receive 900 hryvnias instead of 450 hryvnias for each such person per month, from a message on the website of the Ministry for Reintegration of the Temporarily Occupied Territories of Ukraine.
During the counter-offensive, the Ukrainian army liberates settlements occupied by the enemy almost every day. Високопілля, Ольгине, Нововознесенське, Байрак, Вербівка, Мазанівка. This is not a complete list of villages and towns that the armed forces of Ukraine deoccupied in late August and early September. What the Russian army leaves behind, the world saw after the liberation of the north of Ukraine and the Kyiv region. These shots were filmed in Irpin, Kyiv region at the end of April. This is Bucha. Mass graves, bodies of killed civilians are laying on the streets. Shot and tortured people are still found here. In this small town, the Russian invaders damaged or destroyed more than 2,500 buildings. Today, both the state and the volunteers are restoring houses in the deoccupied territories. Then it is necessary to resume supply of water, gas and electricity to the houses, but people still need to prepare for the heating season. In order to return the liberated territories to a full life, the government created the coordinating headquarters for the deoccupied territories. It was headed by Vice Prime Minister, Minister for Reintegration of the Temporarily Occupied Territories of Ukraine, Irina Vereshchuk.
What the enemy leaves behind in the occupied territories, Ukraine has already seen. These are destroyed social and communal infrastructure, destroyed housing, burned and looted businesses, basements that have turned into dungeons. We will bring these lands back to life. The goal is the further reintegration of such areas. Irina Vereshchuk, Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, Minister for Reintegration of the Temporarily Occupied Territories of Ukraine, on the website of the Ministry for Reintegration of the Temporarily Occupied Territories of Ukraine.
There are hotlines for all Ukrainians in the temporarily occupied territories and for those who were forced to evacuate from dangerous regions. Calls are accepted 24 hours, 7 days a week. Reported by Serhiy Kulyas, Valeria Nekipelova, UATV News.